Good morning, pilgrims. Good morning. Good morning. Made it through another week, haven't we? Let's be thankful. Welcome to today's edition of Good Day, Grenada. I'm George Grant, and it's a Friday morning. Today is the 17th day of May 2019. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys pop up momentarily there on social media. Thanks for joining us. Let's take a look at the rundown and see what sort of stuff we're going to get into over the next 60 minutes or so. We're going to begin with something that's, oh yeah, a major issue in the news. A lot of talk about oil and gas exploration here in Grenada to the point where, yeah, I understand that a certain Calypsonian has done a satirical piece on the oil and gas exploration. I have to confess, somebody sent me a video of that piece, but there is one line in there I can understand because he keeps repeating it over and over and over again. And I have to confess to you right off the bat that a lot of the other lyrics in that piece of music, that song, that calypso, whatever, I simply cannot understand. I just have a difficult time with a lot of calypsos in this place, by the way. I just can't understand what the artistes are saying. Well, so much for George. Anyhow, this morning we're going to begin with another eye opener on the oil and gas secrecy. Why is it that it seems like we're just being kept in the dark? Why is it? Guyana is doing pretty darn well, and they're telling the whole world just about everything. But for us, hush hush. And there's a lot of concern out there about that. And somebody wrote a piece a day or so ago, and it's on Facebook, and I thought I'd share that with you this morning. Yeah, we also have the national report coming your way this morning, and you have to wait for just a wee bit to hear what's in there. And then. Haven't heard from him, but I haven't heard to the contrary. So I guess it's fair to assume that Mr. Brian Pitt will be rocking with us this morning, as he does every Friday morning. All right? So Brian should be joining us just at about, just before the bottom of the hour. All right? So let's get down to brass tacks this morning. Grenada's consternation over the secret oil and gas exploration deal, which was signed between the government of Grenada and the Global Petroleum Group, appears to be on the rise. Last night, a piece was posted on social media by public advocate Randall Robinson. I'm going to share that piece with you right now. My friends, it is captioned, "Let's compare." And I quote, "In 2008, both Grenada and Guyana signed deals to explore and exploit their oil resources. Guyana signed with ExxonMobil, a major company. ExxonMobil is 19 years old, but both parent companies, Exxon and Mobil, are over 100 years old in the oil business. In 2008, Grenada, an island lying in the same basin of oil that Venezuela, Guyana, and Trinidad are in, chose to sign with GPG. And that, pilgrims, was back in 2003. A hastily formed company with no experience in oil or anything else for that matter. In 2015, Guyana began production in their first well, Liza 1. The Guyanese oil find was the largest oil find in decades and stands to make Guyana one of the richest countries per capita in the world. Meanwhile, after contracting out the digging of one well, GPG announced that they were broke. In fact, the boat contracted to explore for oil was holed in Central America, and no activity was happening. That didn't stop the Grenadian Prime Minister from making election promises to Grenadians that oil and gas was on its way. What's more, Bloomberg reported that GPG was shopping for takeover buyers on Wall Street, with the Grenada contract as their valuable asset. Chinese companies and others were reportedly preparing to pay GPG a premium for those rights. Meanwhile, what Guyana stands to gain from her natural resource is no secret. Calculations and projections are public knowledge for any Guyanese, and even non-Guyanese. It is clear that in a few years, Guyana can become one of the richest countries on earth per capita. Grenada, on the other hand, is shrouded in secrecy. Not a drop of oil is being produced, as far as we know. Contracts are being sold left and right without Grenada's involvement or knowledge. Trinidad announced that they bought the rights to Grenada's natural gas, and we are yet to have an announcement from Grenada. No one knows who owns Grenada's blocks now. Grenada remains one of the poorest countries on earth by per capita measurements. Yeah? Okay. That piece was published on Randall's Facebook page, and I thought I should share that with you. Some more food for thought, if you will. Now, obviously, this piece sparked quite a bit of reaction, and I couldn't help but notice one of the responses to that piece from somebody by the name of Albert Marcel. It reads, "That company that was awarded to explore for oil in our waters was led by two jailbirds. One did jail time in a federal prison in New Jersey. The other did time in Russia. There are many crooks and conmen who travel to countries with corrupt leaders, and they buy exploration rights, which they turn around and sell. They do so without spending one penny on any exploration activities. As a result, they make huge profits without making any investments. The people who own that infamous company were cut from the same cloth as the Pirate of Prague, Van Brink, Craig Ferguson, Rita Regalia, Eric Resteiner, and the other crooks who use the same address in the Bahamas." If the two greediest and most shameless men in the Caribbean were truly interested in doing business with a reputable company, they could have entered into a contract with Tullow Oil. That company has made impressive oil discoveries in several African countries. And to hear it from buddies in the diplomatic field, that company is very reasonable. One man sold an entire airplane like a loaf of bread. Not one penny went into the coffers. Financial assistance that was given to the country after the passage of Hurricane Ivan went to pay for the owners to live in their own buildings. Those shameless and gutless thugs will try to reopen any business transaction or deals that they did not benefit from in the form of seekers or finders fees or facilitation fees. The former Nigerian ruler, Sani Abacha, had nothing on these slime balls. That is a response to the piece that was written by Mr. Randall Robinson. Okay? All right. Before we go any further, there they are. There. Hang on a sec here. Let's just do a little refresh here. And then a little slide up here. And take a look. Let's see now. John is saying good morning. Yeah. Famila Lala. Famila Lala, John. What are you into this morning? That's John, friend John out there in Carriacou. Pedro is in Long Island this morning. T.F. Richards is saying good morning, neighbors. Aha. See that, John? You got T.F. to change his introduction. He ain't saying no good morning, family. He's saying good morning, neighbors this morning. Yeah, go get him, TF. Fitzroy Adams is there. Kipling, Benedict, as always, has an adjective to describe every day of the week, and today happens to be Fantastic Friday. John says, re-oil and gas. There's no smoke without fire. Excuse the pun. We will excuse the pun, John. And by the way, thanks for joining us last night. Dennis Charles says, this oil deal or lack of a deal makes me sick. I don't know how our government can do such a thing. I cannot take more, my friend. Dennis, it's getting to the point where a lot of people feel the same way. How much more can the Grenadian people be asked to take? How much more? Huh? I'm weary, but I'm not giving up because I believe that God's eyes are wide open. A lot of people cringe when you mention God. Not me, partner. I've seen enough of him in my life. So I trust that things are in his hands and he knows what's happening and everything's going to be all right. Oh, by the way, before I go any further this morning, I got a WhatsApp a little while ago from Margaret. And Margaret's not going to be with us this morning. Oh, my goodness. Max. John, bring out the Kleenex. Max not going to be with us. Donna Joseph says, good morning, George, and your listening audience, and you're late again. Girl, we're going to have to put you in Mag's hands. You know, this thing about showing up late. But hey, listen, it's only, 15 minutes into the program? Yeah, we don't mind. The fact is, you're here. That's good. Charles Norma saying, good morning. I'm anxious to know what's going on in our country. Well, Charles, let me tell you, hell of a lot going on. Hell of a lot. There's only so much that I can share with you as a one-man band. But we'll try to provide you with as much information as we can. There's a lot going on in this place. Okay. Donna Joseph says, the works minister said it's a normal thing that lots of big companies have a secrecy clause. Can someone help me here? Who are the companies? Okay, Donna. Okay. Folks, it's, let's see here, 16 minutes after the hour. Georgie Porgy is going to take his first little break here, and we're going to come on back with your favorite, the National Report.
I'm always on the move. Training, traveling, competing. So it's good to know I have Co-op Bank in the palm of my hand.
Introducing e-banking, one of many customer convenience services from Grenada Cooperative Bank. And there's more to come.
It's swift, simple, and secure.
Welcome home.
My name is Jennifer James, and I've been making confectionaries for the past 7 years. Growing up as a little girl, I always wanted to make these little things. Fudge, sugar cake, tamarind ball, these little things. I read something actually, and it said that tamarind itself is very good because it eliminates fat from the liver. You get the mature tamarind and you crack it, you shell it out. I would add a little baking soda, some spices. I would leave it to rest probably for about 2 hours and then add my sugar and just start kneading. I usually knead it hard enough so that I can roll it. When I finish roll it, I will paste it with the actual white or brown sugar. And you have a nice tamarind ball. I have been providing food fair with tamarind ball about 6 years now. I started producing tamarind ball to sell for the school children. I thought I could advance somewhere. So I went to food fair and I asked one of the sales persons there to if they would be interested in selling my tamarind ball. And she told me yes. She told me to bring 20 packets to start with. It was really a joy for me because I wanted to extend on my little business. My name is Jennifer James and I work with the food fair to provide you with tamarind balls. To bring 20 packets to start with.
$9.5 million spent on securing scholarships for 80 more students. Details to this story and more in the National Report. With the details to the news for Thursday, May 16th, I am Leslie Ann Johnson. Government has made another sizable investment in its human resource. In partnership with the St. George's University, it has secured scholarships for 80 students in a sum of approximately $9.5 million. And it more reports on Thursday's award ceremony, which was held at the Grenada Youth Center.
The 80 scholarships were awarded by SGU in partnership with the Government of Grenada. The awards included 5 for pre-medicine, 24 in the field of medicine, 1 for veterinary medicine, and 2 for the Masters in Public Health degree. Additionally, there were 11 for nursing, 3 for accounting and finance, 8 for biology, 10 for information technology, 4 each for international business and psychology, and 1 each for tourism and hospitality management, sociology, and management. There were 6 island scholarships awarded. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Jacinta Joseph, expressed appreciation to the National Training Award Selection Committee, who make the final selection of the awardees, and to SGU.
I wish to place on record our gratitude, our appreciation to St. George's University for their sterling contribution.
Minister with responsibility for tertiary education, human resource development, and education outreach, Honorable Pamela Moses, also extended appreciation to SGU and congratulated recipients while outlining an additional scholarship award requirement.
We will formalize a structure whereby you'll be called to undertake community service type activities during the school summer vacation as a way of giving back in small measure to all the millions of dollars that has been invested in you. The activity undertaken by you can be of your choice somewhat, that benefits not just you, but the wider community.
GIS spoke to some of the SGU scholarship recipients to get their feedback.
It was a happy moment because for me it takes away a big burden off my back because I'm a mother of 3 children and studying at this time will be very difficult if you don't have the finance, so I'm very grateful.
I'm just really hoping to pay back, for the investment they made in me. If my mom and dad is watching, I guess you guys are proud now. I'm on TV.
Coming from poor, humble beginnings like myself, there is no way myself or my family could have assisted me in financing a medical degree. So the assistance that is presented here today to myself and all the other recipients of the varying awards and so forth, of course you go a very, very long way in different cause. I'm just too grateful for the government of Grenada for seeing it fit to bestow such on us as recipients today.
I made sure I had to do my absolute best to keep my GPA above a certain standard in order to apply and get through with the scholarship. And with the scholarship now I know I'm bound to the government for a few years, which is good because I want to give back.
Toya Maida and Trevin St. Bernard are 2 of the island scholars who shared their excitement with us.
I always had that passion, that interest in medicine. Hopefully in the future I'll become a surgeon, probably cardio. It's a great honor as well to receive the scholarship to aid in, helping my mom pay for my education.
It's really helpful because I know if I had not received the award, I probably would have to work several years to study. But this award is definitely going to help me advance my academic and career goals. It is my ambition to pursue a degree in law. I want to specialize in international law because I feel that it's very relevant to today's society.
For the National Report, I'm Annette Moore.
More than 100 units will be constructed in Boucherjou as part of Phase 2 of the Chinese low-income housing project. The sod was turned on Wednesday to signal the start of the project, which Prime Minister Dr. The Right Honorable Keith Mitchell says will satisfy an enormous need. We have a report from Delroy Louison, Public Relations Officer in the Ministry of Social Development, Housing and Community Empowerment.
The Ministry of Social Development, Housing and Community Empowerment, under the leadership of its Minister, the Honorable Delma Thomas, with the assistance of the government and people of the People's Republic of China, has commenced work on the final site of the low-income housing project Phase 2. In 2018, the Minister announced that there will be construction of 647 housing units spread across 5 sites, namely the Villa in St. Patrick, Diamond in St. Mark, Corinth in St. David, Dumfries, Carriacou, and Bushiju St. George. However, after months of unforeseen challenges, on Wednesday, 15th May, the sod was turned at the Bushiju site, signaling the immediate start of work. Parliamentary Representative for the St. George Northwest constituency, Dr. the Right Honourable Keith Mitchell, who is also a son of the soil, is quite pleased that his government is able to address the housing needs of his people.
As the parliamentary representative in the constituency, and recognizing the tremendous importance of housing in the community, this brings me great joy. As my colleagues would verify, and they themselves have the same problem. For every 5 persons that visit you in your constituency these days, at least half of that, at least 2 of them will be talking housing, looking for housing. So basically, and as people move forward economically, they want to have their own place. So a lot of younger persons are also seeking housing. So the social need is extremely strong, and therefore this is going to satisfy an enormous need.
Ambassador of the People's Republic of China to Grenada, Dr. Zhao Yongshen, says the low-income housing project forms part of the strong diplomatic ties shared between both countries.
China's support to Grenada showcases the international responsibility of China as a major country and the essential aspiration to build a community with a shared future for mankind.
Minister for Social Development, Housing and Community Empowerment, the Honourable Delma Thomas, reiterates government's commitment to providing affordable housing for those in need.
We have repeatedly said that housing continues to be one of the top priorities for our people, and the demand are large and ever present. We continue to find solutions and we continue to push, but they can never be enough. So there is this constant pressure, but we have signed up for the job and we promise to do it well in the name of the people.
13 buildings with 121 housing units will be constructed on the Bushiju site. For the National Report, I'm Delroy Luzon.
This is the National Report. More news after the break.
The world's debt is 184 trillion US dollars. That's about 86,000 US dollars per person. Join Linda Tessar, the Central Bank of Barbados 2019 Distinguished Visiting Fellow for the 6th edition of the Caribbean Economic Forum, as she helps us understand just how in a world of rising debt, we in the Caribbean can stay afloat. Follow this important live broadcast of the 6th Caribbean Economic Forum on social media and on radio and television in Barbados and across the region. Thursday, May 23rd at 8 p.m., 7 p.m. in Jamaica. Visit www.centralbank.org.bb for more information.
Continuing the news, the Ministry of Tourism and Civil Aviation says it has been engaging in discussions with SVG Air on partnerships for increasing airlift to Carriacou. The negotiations included reduction in taxes at the Treasury level and at the Airport Authority level, as well as some logistic procedural changes at the airports. Tourism and Civil Aviation Minister, the Honourable Clarice Modeste Kerwin, says all is being done to arrive at a solution, even though a break was requested by the SVG Director.
We have sort of in principle agreed to some of the waivers and so on, and in the middle of our discussions, and almost close to the conclusion, I heard certain utterances which I was not aware of, I had not heard before, but maybe there are situations that need to be considered. Our airlift committee continues to engage SVG Air, and we expect some good and very positive outcomes. They have to sell the smaller planes for reasons not generated by Grenada. Very objective reasons, and I think it was said so. We have to look within the statements to find out why. But it is not because we didn't come to an agreement with them.
Grenada will see increased daily flights from JetBlue for SpiceMass 2019. That announcement by Minister for Tourism and Civil Aviation, Dr. Clarice Modeste Kerwin. During a press conference on Thursday, the tourism minister said while Grenada will see daily flights from the airline during the month of June, from August 1st it will provide 2 flights per day to Grenada.
JetBlue, let's start with that. They have already increased flights 6 days per week with a Wednesday service from May 8th out of JFK, New York, and commencing June 11 to July 31st. Flights will operate daily, and we know why. That period is an important period. The breaking news is that from August 1st to September 3rd, JetBlue will operate 2 flights per day. August 1st to September 3rd, 2 flights per day.
Minister Modeste Kerwin says the additional flights will result in ease of travel for hundreds desirous of visiting Pure Grenada. She says Grenada also has been able to secure year-round flights from American Airlines from Charlotte.
American Airlines will provide a new non-stop service from Charlotte in North Carolina to Grenada effective December 21, 2019. Sister Pansy, that's good news, isn't it? And that flight will be operated year-round, Saturdays, with a 128-seat Airbus.
And that's the National Report. I'm Leslie Ann Johnson.
Alrighty, folks, so there you have it. There goes last night's edition of the National Report from the Government Information Service. Now, there's one comment there. Anthony DeRigg says, at this moment, the politicians are thinking of ways to bamboozle the people with empty promises, old talk, and handouts. When will the people see the light? That came in during the National Report. And just let me explain this for those of you who may not yet already be aware of it. But the signal takes about usually 30 seconds or so. This morning it's taking about 35 seconds between the time it leaves the studio here and gets to you on Facebook or on Grenada Broadcast, wherever. It takes about 30 seconds generally to get out there. So sometimes when you post something on Facebook, I may only see it several minutes later. Okay? So please just keep that in mind. Take a look. Take a look. There he is. There he is. Sitting up in his chair. This morning he's wearing red. And unfortunately his headphones do not match his shirt. He's slipping. Mr. Pitt is slipping. But never mind. We're going to take another little break here, and we'll get back to Brian in just a wee bit.
Gudday chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try their sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Mouth Open Story Jump Out comes to Brooklyn and Washington, D.C., featuring the humor and storytelling of Ricardo Kings Douglas.
They say she comes all the way up here to Toronto to shop for cosmetics and go back down.
Roll back the years in Brooklyn with Lord Nelson. Also in the Brooklyn concert, Quick USA. And in Washington, Diane and Friends and Julian Moore. Washington, D.C., Saturday, June 8th. And Father's Day, Sunday, June 16th. In Brooklyn at the Tropical Reflection Ballroom on 4501 Glenwood Road from 6 p.m. It's the perfect Father's Day treat. Tickets, $30 in advance. Available at Eventbrite and popular outlets. Or call 347-350-4285 in Brooklyn and 240-460-0442 in Washington, D.C., Maryland. Brooklyn. Special guest, the Mighty Sparrow, will be joined by cultural ambassadors and preservationists to be recognized with New York State proclamations. They include Lord Nelson, Derek Vento, Heron Rockin' J. Douglas, Gentle Benjamin, Lambert, and the Matadors, and the Quake USA Cultural Organization. Additionally, 2 lucky patrons will get to stay free at the award-winning Blue Horizons Garden Resort in Grenada for 3 nights, including breakfast and a dinner at La Belle Creole Restaurant, sponsored by Tropical Reflection Ballroom, Blue Horizon Gardens Resort, The Penny Firm, Caribbean Times Newspaper, Dr. Derek Lezama, Century 21 Achievers Realty, Attorney Glenroy George, The Otley Law Firm, and Funk Media NYC. Washington, D.C., Saturday, June 8th. And Brooklyn, Father's Day. Mouth Open, Story Jump Out.
All right, there he is, Mr. Pitt. Now I'm going to ask him to hang on for a couple of seconds here because TF has posted something here. TF says, I continue to say that this government doesn't care about anything. Firstly, they have shares in Flow, yet for all. They're joining with the competition Digicel on projects. Secondly, we now own shares in Liat, and the same thing Liat is clamoring about for in terms of tax breaks. We are now hearing that the said government is in talks with SGV Air on that. Boy, oh boy. Clear your throat, Mr. Pitt. You ready, BP?
Good morning, George.
How you doing, bro?
Not too bad. You know, I put this shirt on this morning and I thought it was maroon, but I stand corrected by you that it is red.
Brian,
if it is red, George, let's accept the fact that it's red and my headphones are green. What's wrong with the colors in our flag?
Green? Is
That's
that
green.
really green? The green headphones?
Well, I think it's green. I don't know. Maybe I'm colorblind or something.
Or maybe,
But anyway.
Maybe I'm
Anyway.
colorblind.
Contrasting colors work these days, George.
Absolutely. That's
Yes,
why.
yes.
That's why I'm.
We don't have to match.
Pardon me?
We don't have to match head to toe anymore.
Okay, I see. Okay.
Have you seen some of the socks that people wear these days? Some crazy, the colors and forms and stuff, you know. I mean,
I remember as a child growing up, they had.
Get with it, George.
Pardon?
Get with it.
As a child growing up, it had to be black socks or white socks. That's it.
Yeah. Not anymore.
Rainbow socks.
Yes.
Yes. Brian, good to see you as always, man. So tell me, what's up your sleeve this morning?
George, we have an event in the Carnage, and I want to get to that later on. But you know, one of the things that I would like us to do, let me slow down a bit, George, is as we learn things, we share it with each other. You know what I found out recently, George? That we buy a checkbook from the bank, yeah? But when we write a check, some banks are charging us $1.75 to process that check. Did you know that, George?
No, but I heard that if you go to deposit a check from
No,
another
no,
bank.
no. This is a separate issue. You know, we were getting statements at the end of the month, and in those statements there was a fee. There was an amount that told us that is what they're charging us each month. But that amount now is itemized for us. And when I looked at the itemized list, for every check I write, the processing fee is $1.75. George, you going crazy? Check it on your next statement.
Brian, didn't you hear me bitching a few weeks ago about the fact that I had to pay $42 for a statement?
Yeah, but this is coming up, George. So I just thought I might mention. The other thing I want to mention, George, I was talking to a lawyer not too long ago. He's a criminal lawyer. And he said to me, he says, Brian, you know, I don't believe that Grenadians understand the social fallout of what's happening in the court system. He says, you know, if I represent a person who may have committed a crime, a gruesome crime, and the court take too long to get this guy a trial, then, you know, some judges might set him free because they might deem it unfair and unjust punishment. If you have this guy in the lockup for a long period of time without him getting justice, the court might very well let him free. And I think it's already started to happen, you know, George.
Yeah.
So yes.
Yeah.
I think it's happening here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there are one or two cases where the matter has been thrown out of court because the persons, we've taken too long to bring them to trial.
Yeah.
One other thing, George, before I get into the substantive subject, it becomes norm. I was listening to a minister not too long ago, and she apologized for not instituting a campaign promise relative to tablets. You heard that, John?
Yes, I did.
And I said to myself, okay, it is now normal for us to make campaign promises, and at the end of the day, once we elected, say, sorry, it can't work. But you know, George, many moons ago, and I did a couple of these things, there was something called a leaders' debate before the election process.
Brian, just sit back a little bit from the camera. There we go. Thanks.
A leaders' debate before the election process. And I think certain political parties have, over the last cycles, refused to participate in that debate. And it was in those debates where people would put forward what their plans are and they'll be tested on how it can be done. That doesn't happen anymore, George. So I can run a campaign and make you any promise, and I can get you to vote for me. And then at the end of the day, when you elect me, I say, sorry, can't work. George, we have to take note of these things that are happening right before our eyes. Right?
I'm hoping. That's why you and I are doing what we're doing, Brian. We're trying to share that with the people, whether or not it's sinking in. I don't know.
Yeah, but not very many people are listening to us. George, the carnage.
Sit back, Brian.
The carnage. Thank you, sir. Thank you, teacher.
Yes, sir.
Don't
go back to being. Hold on. Don't go back to being a techno peasant.
No. I am not going back to it. I graduated from that class.
Okay, great. Thanks.
George, over the years, because I'm from St. George's and I spent a lot of time in the carnage growing up, people keep beating up on the carnage. And I say beating up because they use it as, you know, for whatever ends they want to use it. And there's an event on the carnage this evening. By the way, I admit that climate change is a real thing. Yes, George?
Yes, sir.
But before we can come to a conclusion or come to a remedy for what's happening on the carnage, I believe we should first find out what is wrong. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I heard somebody mention that they are in touch with NASA. And if I know NASA, they should be able to tell us the depth of the carnage, and going back for 50 years, 60 years, whatever. What is causing that thing to now be filling up?
Mm-hmm.
that is causing the waves to break on the seashore. That's causing the erosion. You know, it's a given that the Carnage is the most picturesque harbor probably in the world to sail into. I believe, George, that you worked on the Rum Runner, and if not, I'm not mistaken. Even with the port being in St. George's, when the Rum Runner take people out on a cruise, they come into the inner harbor, the Carnage. You know, there were captains of some of the older ships that came to Grenada, some of the smaller ships that came to Grenada. Even the captain on the QE2, and I talk from experience here, George, will anchor outside even though it had an option of berthing in town and tender its passengers into the Carnage. But came Zubling and Mr. Van Dyke. And Zubling and Mr. Van Dyke convinced us that the best place for a cruise ship port is in town, Melville Street. Okay, nothing wrong with that, because there are huge ships being built now and we needed some place to berth those huge ships. But there was a debate at the time, George, that, okay, maybe we need to have two cruise ship ports, one in Melville Street and the secondary one in the Carnage where the small ships and the older ships can dock. Or captains should have the option of docking, sailing into the Carnage. And I know that was refused by the powers that be, George. I think one person in particular in the Port Authority decided, no, Melville Street must be the only port. Why? Because they share the rental income in Melville Street. So, what is wrong with the Carnage? George, what we have there is the most beautiful port. It is a very well protected port. I remember after Hurricane Janet, I'm old enough to talk about that, George. We could actually walk on water. And the reason why we could walk on water is because the pier went down and all the debris from the pier, the pier, settled in the Carnage area. So we had to move all that stuff. I want to know, or I want these folks to tell me, how often we have to dredge the Carnage, if we have to dredge it at all. And would that be part of the solution for the erosion problem that is now taking place there? Hey, George? I'm not hearing that conversation. All I'm hearing is this climate smart city. We know the Carnage is an excellent venue for entertainment. It's happened over the years. So Eric Matthew Gary and his Easter Water Parade. Remember that, George?
Yes. Yes, I'm old enough.
Water Parade, we put a lot of sand on the Carnage, and it was a major place for entertainment. When Van Dyke and Zubling moved the port to Melville Street, all the businesses on the Carnage moved to Melville Street. We keep beating up on the Carnage, George. And I'm getting kind of tired of that, to be quite honest. Now, what is happening here, and I'm trying to figure this out. Consultants are making a lot of money on the Carnage, off the Carnage. They're beating up on the Carnage. We are trying to get money from donor agencies and funding agencies to do projects in Grenada. Not necessarily the Carnage. They're beating up on the Carnage again. And a lot of these projects might not necessarily provide sustainable employment, as the IMF representative was talking about the other day. They may be providing employment in short-term projects that will give people jobs to elect us. It's not a long-term situation. Are they beating up on the Carnage, George? What do we know about what is happening on the Carnage? I heard Alan the other day talking about the fishing trawlers and the ships that berth around the Carnage that is creating an unhealthy distraction for those people who have businesses there. It's not easy to get a park on the Carnage if a boat is loading goods on the Carnage, or go through the traffic, for example, on the Carnage. So we're having this event on the Carnage to inform people about this climate smart city brings question to my mind. What is this all about? What is this all about? Is it consultants again trying to make some money because there's money available for climate change? What happened to those people whose houses were destroyed in Marquis and Soubise after Hurricane Ivan, George? And we allowed them to build right back there. Did climate change damage these people's houses because there was no water, there was no protection, and we allowed them to build back there? Those people who are building hotels on Grandad's Beach, George, are they sitting back with the required distance to allow Grandad's Beach to recover, to do what it's supposed to do to last us for many generations? There are a lot of issues on the table that we have to be talking about if we are in fact going to protect Grenada from the changes in climate.
All right, hold on a sec. I bet you have. Hold on. I bet you have a lot more to say, but
no, not too much more.
Hold on. I don't want to get too far behind here. Anthony de Riggs says, in 1939, when Mount Pelée in Martinique erupted, not as powerful as the one in 1902, the waters of the Carénage showed their sympathy. There is a connection, folks.
That is historical data, and there is a connection. Of course there is a connection.
Mr. Pitt, one of the most important things to do on the Carénage is to get rid of all the vessels berthed there. So says T.F. Richards. Brian and George, have you ever really looked at the Carénage on a Thursday when the Carriacou vessels and Trinidad vessels are not there? It is the best picture the eyes can see when you enter from Burns Point. And you know, Brian, go ahead.
Absolutely right, George. This is why I'm saying, we have to find what is the depth of this thing. What the depth was 50 years ago, and if we're talking to NASA, they can tell us, they can give us that information and find out how much of that stuff in the water that we have to get out. Because if we dredge that place on a regular basis, we can probably protect the place from being eroded.
You know, Brian, TF just gave me an opportunity here to reflect for a minute. But you mentioned that I used to work on the Rum Runner. I remember the days when the cruise ships used to come and anchor offshore. And we used to take the Rum Runner out to the outer harbor, board the passengers, to take them down to BBC Beach. But on the way there, we would first enter the Carénage. Now, when you get off a cruise ship and you tell these people, okay, we're going to take you into the main port of St. George, and so on and so forth, and they're looking to see, where the hell is this main port? What are you talking about? So you head for the fort, and then suddenly, Brian, this bay just opens up.
You come around the hospital hill,
thank you,
and this thing just opens.
Thank you, Brian. I have seen people stand on the deck of that boat and cry in amazement and awe just to see this thing expand. Right, it wasn't there a minute ago, and now there's a bay, 2 bays. Brian,
George, I noticed Karani James area and the lagoon. There's a lot of dredging taking place there.
Yeah, man, I see that too.
And that dredging is taking place there for a reason. That harbor is very well protected so that yachts during the hurricane season leave a lot of places in the Caribbean and go inside that harbor for safekeeping. That is a given. Now the Carénage area is also as protected. So we have to be careful what we're talking about here when we talk about smart cities. And I hope we are not using the Carénage again so that some consultants can make some money, or that we can get some money from some source that is sympathetic to climate change to do projects in Grenada. Because at some point in time, a forensic audit will be done on some of these projects, and maybe that short-term gain might be our long-term loss.
Well, John here says dredging is spot on. Climate funds seems to be just a reason to get money.
That's what I'm afraid of.
Yeah. Benedict Cador also says rising sea levels is one of the reasons causing the waves to break inland.
Yeah, but what is the level of the sea? You see, if the level is close to the surface, I mean, we have to dredge the thing. Think about it, George. If the water ain't no place to go, it's going to flow over the road. Because don't forget, this is a protected harbor. It is a well-protected harbor. As a matter of fact, we at one point in our early days, we can swim on the Grenada without any fear of any pollution. Look at that place now. It's full of all kinds of stuff, including some sediments of oil.
Some people,
I don't know what the marine life is like there now, but I'm sure that it's almost depleted.
Some people even use it to go potty.
To go?
Potty.
Yes.
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 Yeah. All right. Having said all of this, are you going to the thing tonight? This big do they're having. I think it starts at midday today. This climate smart city. Are you going down?
No, George. I don't think I have the time to do that. On a Friday afternoon, I try to eat as local as possible. So I will probably get some lambi sauce and some cow skin sauce. And,
Hold on. Did you say lambi sauce? Hold on. Did you say lambi sauce?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
there's a little place on the Grenada, George, that does some of the best lambi sauce and cow skin sauce on the island.
Lambi sauce?
Lambi sauce.
And can
cow
you...
skin sauce.
Hold on, Mr. Pitt. Can you guarantee that they're going to have lambi sauce tonight?
Well, if you get there... No. It will start just after lunch. And if you get there on time, before it's finished, because, we don't have very big pots. So we make just enough for our regular customers, and when it's done, it's done.
All right, Mr. Pitt, is this by invitation only?
No, George. You can anybody, and you can just walk down the Grenada, just close to where the Cable and Wireless building was. There's a shop right in the corner there. I will have difficulty parking on the Grenada, but you can walk.
Don't rub it in, okay? I was going to suggest to you that Brian, seriously, if you're going to go down there today, whatever time this afternoon, I will rearrange my schedule to join you for some lambi sauce. I ain't want the coldest and the cold. Lambi sauce. Brian, are you going, and would you be willing to take me?
George, if I remember, I will make a note. I will buy a lambi sauce and drop it for you.
You'll buy a lambi sauce and drop it for me?
Yes.
Oh, do you hear that?
I want to put some lead in your pencil. Sorry about that.
I just pray to God that a lot of the people out there don't have a clue what you're talking about. I really, really do, Brian.
Well, Lord, it's very hot today.
But Brian, remember, you made a promise now in front of a whole lot of people, okay?
Yes, I don't have much choice to. I have to make sure that you get your lambi sauce.
I would appreciate today.
Yes.
Mr. Pitt, there are a couple other things I wanted to ask you about oil and gas, but I guess we don't have time to that. Is there anything else you'd like to bring up before we shake
George,
this?
ask me any question, and I'll try and answer it as quickly as possible.
All right, I read something on the air this morning that I saw on Facebook yesterday, where somebody was complaining about the secrecy regarding our oil and gas deal. And the fact that, Venezuela stands the potential to become one of the richest countries per capita.
You mean Guyana?
Sorry, Guyana stands to become one of the richest countries per capita. And they're open about everything.
Yes.
But we're not. Very tight-lipped. And last night we were talking to an attorney from St. Kitts. He was on MECWE Chat, gentleman by the name of Dwyer Astafan. And he was saying this thing about, the contents of the agreement have to be kept confidential and all of that. He was saying essentially hogwash.
Yes, garbage.
Garbage.
Total garbage. I mean, no, you think about it. Why would it be confidential if you're dealing with a national asset? Yeah, think about it. Anybody that will buy into this confidentiality arrangement ain't thinking right.
So, Brian,
this is a national asset.
So, Brian, does that make you speculate?
I'm not speculating. Somebody on the tape. At some point in time, you have to follow the money. These things are simple, you know, George. I remember, I think it was the PRG that acquired a lot of Gary's properties after the revolution in 1979. One of the things the PRG did not do is follow the money to find out how Gary became the custodians of all these assets. Because maybe they thought they would be there for life. And they didn't follow the money. And after 1983, Gary got all his properties back because nobody followed the money. At some point in time, George, somebody will follow the money. It might not be my lifetime or yours, but somebody will follow the money.
Nothing remains hidden.
Nope. And listen, in today's technology where people can hack into anything, not even our cell phones, I understand now that we can they can get information off my phone without me even turning it on.
Yeah, I saw that this week, and I published something about it on the website. Yeah, go ahead.
You know, the Israelis have a system going that they can hack into almost everything and anything.
Yeah.
So these things are not going to remain secret for long.
Yeah.
And if I were one of those people who signed on to this confidentiality thing, I would be concerned.
Because it's going to catch up.
It's going to come out.
Yeah.
It's going to come out.
Yeah. All right, Brian. Let's wrap it up on a light note here. I'm not even sure I want to go in this direction. Anyhow, John says, Brian, he needs someone to write to. You talked about putting lead in my pencil. And he said,
what's his name, John?
John Caniston.
Tell John that you from the era of pen pals.
I'm from the era of pen pals?
Yes, remember when we had pen pals, we used to write?
That's right. Yeah.
So
Yes. John, I'm from the era of pen pals. You hear that, John? Right. And also, T.F. Richard says, George, the guy doesn't want you on the carnage. He will bring it for you.
That could also be true. I don't know if I want the people in the carnage to see you in my company of 9 years. So I'll bring it to you. That guy is thinking. George, have a nice weekend.
Thank you very much, Brian.
I'll make sure you get your Lambi's house.
I would appreciate that very much. Thank you so much, my friend. Good to see you.
Have a good one.
All right, bye-bye. Yeah. Brian. You know, when his mom and dad made him, they threw the mold away. Brian Pitt, thank you very much. Okay. John says to Brian here, me too, Brian. Yes. Folks, we're just about at the end of this morning's edition of this Gudday Grenada. So let's take a quick little break, and we'll come back here and wrap. Don't go. Just wait, because I got something I want to share with you.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try the sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Together with you, our customers, we energize our community.
Together with you, we energize our economy. We are working together to give our nation a better tomorrow.
With you, we energize our future. Together, we energize our nation.
Thank you for partnering with us as we energize our Speyside.
GRENLEC, energizing our Grenada.
All right, to show you the humor that's been with us over morning, there's a note here that just came in from Fitzroy. Fitzroy says, don't make promises like NNP. Okay, folks. Parting word. Luke chapter 6, verses 20 to 26. Looking at his disciples, he said, Blessed are you who are poor, for yours is the kingdom of God. Blessed are you who hunger now, for you will be satisfied. Blessed are you who weep now, for you will laugh. Blessed are you when people hate you, when they exclude you and insult you and reject your name as evil because of the Son of Man. Rejoice in that day and leap for joy, because great is your reward in heaven. For that is how their ancestors treated the prophets. But woe to you who are rich, for you have already received your comfort. Woe to you who are well fed now, for you will go hungry. Woe to you who laugh now, for you will mourn and weep. Woe to you when everyone speaks well of you, for that is how their ancestors treated the false prophets. Pilgrims, Luke chapter 6, 20 to 26. Let's see here. T.F. Richard says, George, you will have to make a new nightly program with the likes of Brian and Alan, etc. You know, T.F., that's been on my mind. Not specifically the names you just mentioned, but I've been wondering, you know, I really enjoy doing this particular program, Gudday Grenada, 9 to 10, weekday mornings. But I'm wondering whether or not we should shift the time somewhat. Maybe make it an evening thing. I don't know. What do you think? You know, I'd really appreciate it if you folks let me know. You can do so either by using the email on the GrenadaBroadcast.com website, or, hey, post something right here on Facebook. Send me a note. Just let me know. Send me a messenger or whatever. But let me know whether or not you think we should shift the time of this program, 9 to 10. Those of you who have been with us have been so damn loyal. Every weekday morning you guys are here, and you've been doing that for, what, about a year now? Even through the rough times that we had in the beginning, and still sometimes occasionally have. Yeah. But there are a lot of other people out there whom I think need to see and hear what comes out on this program. And so drop me a note. Just share your thoughts with me, just between the two of us. Hey, I would appreciate that. Thanks a lot. Okie doke. John says, good idea, as people will be home then. Yeah, John, see, the first one, John's up first. And here comes Chester as well. Okay. Pilgrims, that's going to do it for Georgie Porgy this morning. Thank you so much, as always. I really appreciated that chuckle. Nice way to end the week. And here's an invitation to join us. Another gangbuster on Sunday. Yeah, 9 o'clock, Sunday morning, 9 to noon, Sundays with George Grant. God bless you, pilgrims.